Hi, everyone. Welcome to DomainSherpa, and thank you for tuning in to the podcast with the best domain name and digital asset content in the world. Today's episode is a DomainSherpa review titled Wasted Away Again, featuring Ammar, Josh, and Drew. And rest in peace to JimmyBuffett, another amazing human being we unfortunately recently had to say goodbye to. And on today's show, we play the domain game featuring stateofmind.org, deepcloud.com, and plantbar.com. And then we've got the NameJetGonnaJet segment, sponsored by NameJet. And we talk about some domains coming up for auction, including seniorhealth.com, goodfitness.com, and monarchy.org. We also talk about the importance of body scans and preventative health, a bit of an off-topic conversation, but one that is very important. We also discuss domain pricing and how to optimize your portfolio, and we talk about the recent sale of VT.com. All that and more is coming up on today's episode. And remember, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can also watch the video version at DomainSherpa.com and on our YouTube channel at ds.tv. You can also listen to the shows on Apple and Spotify and other podcast platforms as well. And make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button and all that good stuff when you can. We appreciate it. Also, we're now integrating our shows with Muse.ai, which provides new search functionality for the shows and the transcripts as well. So definitely check all that out. And big shout out to Dan.com, the #1 place in the world to buy and sell your domains with a special platform made for domain investors. With that, it's now time to get into this episode of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. So let's go. What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. Jay On, a.k.a. Sherpa Winfrey, a.k.a. John Burgundy, and I'm the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is a Domain Sherpa review, where we get into the minds of not just successful domain investors. We're getting into the minds of the most successful domain investors, using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become more successful domain name investors ourselves. Seriously, these are the OGs, the best of the best. There are 4 segments to a Domain Sherpa review. One is Grand Opening. That's where I intro the Sherpas. That's what's happening right now. We do the AKA, see what's going on with them, talk about some related things, some unrelated things. We'll try to stay off the politics today if we can. You know, the offline combos are getting kind of wild up in here today.
Who's talking? Yeah, who's talking politics? We're talking about time travel and you know,
we're talking about
Looney Tune land.
Yeah, we are definitely in Looney Tune land.
It's like the opposite of politics, isn't it? Oh, wait, no, never mind.
Exactly right. I can't tell the difference anymore. And then segment 2, we've got the domain game, where we hear about what the Sherpas recently bought or sold. Everybody guesses on the price. We keep out score, get some swag to the winner. Then we got segment 3, NameJetGonnaJet, sponsored by NameJet. We review a list of domains coming up for auction. And then last but not least, we've got GrandClosing, where we discuss anything we haven't already covered, what's going on in the domain space, looking at the market trends, current events, all that good stuff, allowing our guests to mention, promote anything they want to talk about that we have not already discussed. All right, with that, let's go ahead and introduce the Sherpas. Over to my right, we got the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Andrew Rosner, a.k.a. Morpheus, a.k.a. Dirk Diggler, Digital Assets, a.k.a. Bob Lee Swagger, the Sniper, a.k.a. Drew. Drew got what I need. Graybeard, the domain pirate. Never going to give Drew up. What's happening, man? How you living? What's on your mind?
Man, I'm great. I am terrific. I just came off of, an amazing summer with lots of travel, although I'm kind of tired of travel at this point. We just had an amazing month of domain sales. My kids are back at school. Everybody's happy, healthy. I had a little health scare. Thought I had a little something on my prostate, but turns out that is not anything to worry about whatsoever.
All right, let's get some applause up in here.
But I still want to double check. I want to double check, Drew.
Listen, tell you what.
He's like, I went for a third opinion. He's like,
no,
pretty
listen,
cool.
I actually am going to follow this up with a little public service health announcement. Okay. There's this thing called Prenuvo, and I know people get like, "Oh, you fucking elitist, you can afford to go get your body
I was
scan."
thinking about doing that.
Okay?
We've got one
Look,
down in Buffett.
I don't care if you can or you can't. You can't work harder and figure out how to do it, because hell, if you don't got health, you don't got wealth. So anyways, my objective here is to simply tell you, there is this company called Prenuvo, Prenuvo. They do these scans. You go in for an hour into this tube. It's an MRI. They do not use contrast. It has basically, from what I understand, I am not a medical professional, zero negative effect on you whatsoever. Like, if you get an X-ray, that has a negative consequence, as negligible as it may or may not be. Basic CAT scan, CT scan, all these scans. This is a super high resolution MRI, full body scan, head to toe, and they can detect things earlier than most other diagnostics can. And they can do, they're looking for aneurysms in your brain, which could be treated now so that they don't turn into a stroke later. They can find, lesions, tumors, growths, all sorts of different stuff. Anyways, it's an amazing, the whole thing is pretty impressive. The clinics are amazing. They're popping up more and more. I think there's like 20 more being built this year. And if there's one near you, where you travel somewhere where there is one, I think it's $2,500. If you live out of the United States and you go there, I think we got like a $700 discount for that. But I highly encourage it. It's worth every penny. They have an incredibly cool app, and the imaging and the reports and all that stuff is just incredible. And then the ability to then take that and track over time is, I think personally, game changing from a health perspective, from a, let's say, proactive, as somebody who really cares about trying to maintain good health, whether you are scared about anything or not, just proactively, I think this was a game changer. Like, the most important thing outside of, I do a blood panel every year anyways. I think that doing a full blood panel and doing this scan yearly is probably the best thing you can do proactively for monitoring your health. So that's,
and not only do they have a cool app, not only do they have a cool app, they have a brandmatching.com domain name where you can find their website. And it's not just because all roads lead to domains. And, they are not sponsoring the show. So just so everybody knows, we're not, but
unless they want to. Shout out Prenuvo.
Yeah, exactly. Josh, they have a Boca clinic, and they're opening one in Tampa as well.
I was thinking about booking one literally last week.
Dude, just do it. Literally, do it. Go in. You go in. They got the machines. They have this like mirror system, kind of like the telescope in a submarine, and they're playing Netflix on that thing. So you're in the tube, but you got this thing on your face, and you can watch Netflix. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, it takes an hour. You got to do some I don't know, controlled breathing stuff that the computer tells you to do while you're in there. But other than that, you're just chilling watching Netflix. It's pretty,
Yeah, and I think you made a really good point before when you said, look, without health, you have no wealth. And
100%.
I do think that seeing how we talk about this a lot when we really get into what matters in life, right? And we've seen it happen with people even in this domain space. Jason Shepard is a perfect example of somebody who passed away way too soon, and
Lonnie too.
Of course, Lonnie. I mean, Lonnie Bork, and rest in peace to those guys, and to a lot of others who it's scary stuff, man. You just never.
The only thing really material that this thing seems to not pick up is cardiovascular stuff. So if it's something on your heart, I believe it does pick it up, but it doesn't pick up anything in your cardiovascular system. So clogged arteries and stuff like that. Yeah.
All right. Well, still,
but you get that from the blood tests anyway. From you can monitor
to some degree. Yeah. Yep.
Well, I've seen, I've lost family members. I have family members that are in the hospital literally right now, and dealing with stuff, and it's anything you can do to get ahead of those kinds of things, man. I mean, it's life is 100%. Too short. So, 100%. All right, well, great. I love that public service announcement. That's super positive from you, Drew. You know what I'm saying? Look at you, man. You coming back. You rested off of these vacations, and you're preaching the positivity. I like it. All right, let's keep it moving on these AKAs. You know what I'm saying? Down to my lower right, we got my boy Josh Reason, a.k.a. Bjorn Borg, a.k.a. Boris Becker, a.k.a. Prince Harry, a.k.a. Harry Kane, a.k.a. Prince Harry Kane, a.k.a. Slim Shady, a.k.a. Ken. You know what I'm saying? What's up? You a Barbie guy living in a Barbie world. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't know what you're saying, JT. We do not know what you're saying.
Hey, man, I'm just jealous, dog.
Energy.
I'm just jealous. But for real, how was the Barbie movie? Obviously, you were inspired by it. I'm playing, man. Nothing wrong with it. Made $1 billion.
You have to tell me. Have you seen it? I definitely haven't seen it.
No, I have not. You know what I'm saying? I don't have daughters. If I had like a little girl,
I saw it. My wife forced me, but it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah.
Right, okay. You guys have tons of spare time on your hands. Y'all going to rent, like literally, you are like. You're like, we've seen everything else in the theater, hun. The last movie left is Barbie. And you're like, no.
Hey, I've seen two movies in the theater. I've seen 2 movies in the theater in the last several years, probably. Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Oh, so you totally did Barbieheimer or whatever they were calling it. You know, Oppenheimer.
Barbieheimer. Look at him.
Yeah, dude, look at you, man. You good. That's good stuff. Yeah, you're like ground zero for Oppenheimer out there in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? You're like,
I haven't seen it. Was it really
I
good?
want to see it. I haven't seen it yet.
It was good.
Yeah, I heard it was fantastic. The last movie I saw, since that's what we're talking about, and I love talking about this kind of stuff, was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem with my kids. You know what I'm saying? Them and their buddies. Although I'll tell you, the younger kids, the younger boys were like, yo, it was amazing. The older kids, like the 8th graders and the 9th graders were like, this shit is stupid.
Yeah, a bunch of Ninja Turtles. Come on.
They're like, we don't get it. They're like, wait, so they're turtles? I'm like, yeah, it was the radioactive waste. It's the ooze, it's the ooze. And they're like, and they're named after who? Michael A. What? Raphael?
Part of the problem is that like the things happening in the real world are so much more unrealistic than things happening in the cartoon world.
Drew, what if Tucker Carlson?
Are like, this is boring.
Drew, what if Tucker Carlson interviewed a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
You did. He's gonna be like, "Yo, I heard you smoke rock with some kind of like, and had inter-turtle relations."
And then got it on with Splinter.
Yeah,
smoking rocks with Splinter.
They call like rock steady and bebop, baby. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Hey, let's keep it moving though. Josh, how's pickleball going, man? What you been doing, man? You been traveling? You been winning tournaments? What's happening? What's up with
a little bit of traveling. It's all good, man. Just playing a lot. I've got a little gap here. Next tournament is Atlanta,
then he's coming to Vegas, baby.
I might come to Vegas. If I was to go to Vegas, it would be purely to see Ammar. So,
all right, yeah,
and to win the Vegas PPA.
Yeah, and to win the Vegas PPA. Yeah. No, so. I'm going back to Europe for a bit, so little break. Got to go and see my mom and my dad, but
predominantly that's not Europe anymore, right?
I'm not going to the UK. I'm going to France. That's where they live. That's
not Europe anymore either, right?
Rue's in one of the moods.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You started it though. Like he was fine, and then you're like, "Ooh, let's talk about some next level stuff." Anyway, that's what's up, man. Any tournaments happening here in town that like somebody come watch you guys play? Do you think?
Daytona PPA in Daytona is November.
Okay.
I'll be playing that.
Let me know, man. That's only like an hour away. We could make that little trip down there and vibe out a little bit, So.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. There's people, they encourage rowdiness and drunkenness, so you could have a good time.
Well, especially in Daytona, man. I feel like, that place is like, that's like Atlantic City. Ooh, okay. What's up? We got a medal. So let's keep it moving on the AKAs. I'll intro Ammar and let's find out about this medal, this mysterious medal that he's wearing right now. So, hello, I'm Ammar Kuba, aka King Kuba, aka Danny Ocean, aka the even greater Gatsby. He will write another blog article at some point, maybe. We'll see. AKA Marzan, AKA Cuba Libre, AKA AK-47. You know what I'm saying? AKA AK, AKA AKA. I don't know. Anyway, what's with the medal, man? What you got? What's going on?
Finally won a tournament this last weekend, and Drew, it wasn't the geriatric league. It was actually, I had a younger partner, so I had to play in the young group.
How young? You play with like an 11-year-old or something? You like, yo, you whooped him.
No, there were 20-somethings.
Yo, I brought a 2-year-old with me. They take your 2 ages and they divide by 2.
Yeah.
Right? That's where you played.
There you go. So it was age groups from 20 to, there were older guys too. So, but we won. So I was pretty happy about that.
Congratulations, man. That's what's up. All right. So you said you were playing.
I'm nowhere near Ken over here in skill level, but I can work on it. I can work on it. I actually, so JT, if you're coming out, right? To LA?
I'm coming to LA. We'll have to make, so that'll be an announcement.
Are you bringing your paddle?
If you want me to, you know what I'm saying? I have a paddle. I don't know how good it is. You know, I bought the whole setup to play at my house and I've not played yet. Because Josh was supposed to come over and like,
dude, I'm still waiting for my invite. It's all cool. It's all cool.
Like, you have a perpetual invite, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man, come through and hang out.
So anyway, and at the ICA, I'm gonna try to organize a pickleball tournament. But
yeah, and we'll get some info out. But we are coming to LA. We are gonna try and get some people together, if nothing else, just to grab some drinks or something, kind of like that LA domainer meetup that the folks do on occasion. So Braden and there'll be some other. I don't know if I should, divulge who's coming. Some people are going to make the trip out there, so we'll have a little bit of information on that soon. And it's nothing super formal or anything, but it'll be cool to see some of the LA folks and some other folks that we haven't seen in a while. So, that's actually coming up in a couple of weeks. So we'll probably
and we're doing a live Sherpa, right?
Yeah, we're going to do a live Sherpa, baby, like live in a Barstool Sports style, sitting around in a living room, bullshitting and just doing what we do, man. It's going to be really cool.
There we go.
So that's what's up. I wish Drew was going to be there because then it would get crazy. But it's probably better that he's not. This way he can just FOMO from a distance. You know what I mean? And be like, whatever. I don't care. Just like ask him. He's like, maybe I can just dial in or something. All right. Well, that's what's up. So, all right. I think we've officially gone around the horn. I'm going to keep it moving for the sake of keeping it moving. And let's slide right into the domain game. Let's go. So, Drew, you got a buy or a sell? Let's start with you.
Oh man,
and I don't know.
Start somewhere else because I actually didn't even think about it yet.
Well, he's only got well into the 8 figures of sales, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we can't divulge any of those. Plus, I know those, so those I like the ones where he surprises me, so I can participate. Make sure I actually have.
It's tough because we literally just did the month end, so now we went through every transaction from last month.
All right, so start with Josh, or you gonna get one in time? Throw some Jeopardy music in here, Billy.
All right, I got.
Did he freeze?
I'll go with a small. I'm gonna go with a small buy because I can't talk about any of these.
Okay. All right, let's go. What you buy?
Yeah. No. Okay. Sorry, not a buy. This is a small sale. This is a small sale name that we owned.
Okay.
Stateofmind.org.
Stateofmind.org. Actually, I don't know this one. So I will participate. When did it sell? Did it just sell?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, congratulations to us. You know what I'm saying? The best to do it. You feel me? All right. State of mind.
Nothing to write home about.
All right. Well, that's going to help me anchor, the sales price here. Stateofmind.org. All right. Y'all got a number? Everybody got it in their phones?
Yeah, but you know how your names are priced, man. You know what category that falls
they're
into.
not. No, because I've even talked to you about helping us price our names. It's the one thing.
Our names are actually not priced.
They're in the process of being priced, but that is the one sort of gap in our business that we need to get fixed like ASAP. And we're working on it, but anyway, So more to follow on that. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, flip it. Oh, look at us all near the pin. You know what I'm saying? We got Josh at $4,995, Ammar at $5,000, and I'm at $5,990.
I like it. I like where I sit right now.
You got $5,000 and below, Josh.
Yeah, Josh wins $3,500.
35. All right. Well, 3,500. I mean, that's cool. But proof that I didn't know. But what was so let's talk about it real quick. When did you buy
But
it?
I had it priced at 5, and this is where they maxed. So you guys were all spot on, basically.
Yeah, no, solid. You gave him a little bit of a discount to get a deal done. And
I mean,
which is
it's
cool.
a nice name, but it's not a $50,000 name. It's a nice name,
No.
though. It's cool, right?
Oh,
like,
look,
and
stateofmind.org is now a trauma-informed experience.
that's
Florida
Sounds like
Studio
my
Theater.
marriage. You know what I'm saying?
You're invited. Experience a new state of mind. We're going to shock the shit out of you. Half-day curated All-Star Children's Foundation Dream Large Ticket leaders about the profound impact of trauma. Understand what these people are doing.
I think I'm going to need to go there after this episode.
Yeah.
But
right, well, anyways, it went to a good cause. Look at that.
yeah,
Maybe they're traumatizing people.
One thing you guys could probably do out an entire episode out a whole season is, and I don't know if you guys have had similar epiphanies. I think Josh probably already thinks this way, but I'm realizing that no matter how good your name is, there's still an upper, limit on the value, right? So for instance, State of Mind is a great
at a given period of time. At a given moment in time.
Yeah, that's okay.
But let him finish. Let him cook.
Yeah. Okay. So stateofmind.org might be in 5 years, might be 10 grand, right? I don't know. But
or tomorrow it could be 50 grand. Here's the thing that I've seen.
You really think State of Mind could be 50 grand tomorrow.org?
Yes, easily. I think that Ammar, listen, I wish that we truly could just publish all the sales we've ever made and just let people see how, like, I don't know.
It's crazy
how the world really turns. And like, if you look at the things that we get hired to go buy, okay, because that's actually the real indicator of what are these things worth. It's not somebody clicked to buy it now. It's not, I went out and found a buyer and asked, tried to convince them to buy the domain. Right. The true measure is like the perfect buyer at the perfect time approaches a domain owner. That domain owner has a Rick Schwartz-like approach where they just say, no. I have a money, we call it a Michael Saylor, whatever. Yeah. And it's no. I'm just not motivated. And until there's a number that suddenly motivates me, thank you, but no thank you. That's when you actually find out what these things are worth. And we've had names that are much worse than stateofmind.org. But it just happened to be that some committee within a company decided that's going to be this new campaign. This is going to be the new product name. This is going to be the new service. And they just go get the name. And you're like, well, I get it, but we can get much better names for a lower price. No, this is the name. This is what we need. And then it's just, that's what it is. And then you go and the card comes back and you have some crazy guy on the other end and says, right, I'm not going to sell this name for $5,000. And they go, well, it's only worth $5,000. And he says, I know it's only worth $5,000. And that's why you should go find a different name. And then you go back and they tell him that and they go, no, I need that one. And they get enraged and they say, go get it. And you say, okay, well, what's the price? He says, it's going to be some stupid price. And you go back to the client and say, look, you got to just throw another offer at this guy because he really doesn't want to sell. And the client says, okay, offer him 25. You go back and you say, $25,000, let's go. You're never going to get that offer again. He says, I don't care if I want to get that offer again. I don't even want to sell the name. You're not listening. Okay, go back to the client. Tell the guy $50,000. No, I'm not going to, I don't want to sell the name. Okay, fine. Get into the 6 figures and I'll think about it. So you go back and say, $100,000. Nah, $100,000. You know what? Didn't get me up out of bed. $250,000. Okay, fine. And you end up with some garbage name that you and I would sell for $5,000 and it just sold for $250,000. And I'm telling you,
I understand that part.
I know this sounds ludicrous the way I've just gone through it, but I promise you, I have walked that path over 100 times, probably over 200 times in the last 15 years of doing this. It is remarkable the situations that you end up with on names that just aren't worth that.
Right. I understand. And that's what's beautiful about our industry. I do love that. And that's what's beautiful about domain names is that on any given day, that could happen.
Yep.
What I'm talking about, though, is more of a, like, if we're going to try to ascribe, a realistic value, right? Or something like that. What I'm saying is
an objective value.
a more objective value, right? That's not that, holy grail buyer, right? So I am starting to realize, for me, I'll just speak for me personally, is I'm starting to realize, okay, I think that this name or that name, I've been bringing prices down a lot on certain names in my portfolio, a certain category or subset of names. And it's because I'm thinking to myself, I have this name priced as in a way which describes the seller that you just talked about, which is, I don't want to sell this name, right? So I have it priced at that number. And I'm like, but I do want to sell the name. And I think it's a great name. Otherwise, probably wouldn't have bought it, but I do want to sell it. My goal is to sell the name. So then I'm trying to start figuring, or trying to hone in on what an objective value, still generally on the higher side, but what an objective value looks like. And I think it's been a really interesting exercise for me to go through. But I agree with Drew 1,000,000% that on any given day that could happen, right? And so for your really special names, I recommend playing that way, right? But for names that you don't care about, that aren't special, maybe rethink what's objective.
So a much simpler way of saying what everything I was trying to say is the following. The objective value is probably the way that we should be pricing our names, right? Is based on data, publicly available data, or any data that you have access to related to that name, the SLD, the field, the space, the trend, etc. The subjective value is determined 98% of the time by one variable. And that one variable is timing. And nothing else matters. Now, the outcome is going to be determined by who's the buyer, who is the seller, and all the other variables. But the least important of all of those variables is, what is the objective value of the domain? And so it's really interesting. But again, this is something I think about a lot, in particular lately, because we're going through this exercise of how do we price these names. We've been in a position where we really weren't actively trying to sell names. We've basically never proactively sold a name from our portfolio, right? And so we would only sell opportunistically when buyers would come to us. None of our names had buy it now pricing, for the most part, very few at least. And so now I'm thinking about it, and I have two lanes of thought, and I think it's an interesting conversation. Tell me if I'm wrong and you guys want to change subject, but I think that there's two ways to think about it. So if you think about Manhattan wouldn't be Manhattan if it wasn't for early landlords, early landowners who believed New York would be New York, right? And held on to their land and only sold it to the perfect buyer willing to pay an exorbitant price. Because if they had sold it to the guy who was going to put a little strip mall, it would have set back the development of that city dramatically, because you'd have C, D, E players, B players buying up property, underdeveloping it, and not putting the best and highest use case purpose on that piece of land that ultimately led to a city full of skyscrapers and the greatest companies on earth. May or may not be the truth today, but the development of New York proceeded in that way. And so there's something to be said for people with that Michael Saylor, Rick Schwartz approach to hold on to this name, because it's a really valuable name. Now, certainly not the stateofmind.org, but hold on to good generic domain names for the highest and best use case buyer. From I don't want to call it a moral perspective, but from a industry maturity, importance of the asset class perspective, the more we as a collective hold out for the best and highest use case buyer for every single particular name, the faster the name space itself grows in importance and in size, and the more valuable domain names become. The more we sell these names amongst ourselves and to small C, D, and E type players and not the A players or maybe the B players, the more we impede the growth, maturity of the namespace and thus, the domain and internet industry. Because these names become encumbered by businesses that are just big enough that it doesn't make sense to buy them out or force a rebrand, to get a hold of these names, and not big enough to really actually be the best use case for the name. So anyways, but there's also the flip side of what good are these names doing sitting in our portfolios, and we should just be pricing them to get them out into the wild and have people using them. And I think these are the two sides of that coin that I'm sort of struggling with and thinking about. And I do believe in the long-term viability of domain names now more than ever. I don't think that technology is going away or going to be usurped or replaced. Certainly not in the next 10 years. I think it's impossible to look beyond that, but I'd be pretty confident that, next 20 years for sure, domains front and center, foundation of the internet. I think it's interesting to see. Anyways, I'll stop there.
I'll just say those two are not mutually exclusive, Drew. You can have, that's what I'm trying to say, is there's a subset that fall into the former, and then there's a subset, which is a much bigger subset that fall into the latter, where, you do want to get them out into the wild, right? So I think they can both work. They can coexist.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff, guys. Thanks for that.
JT's back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on, host.
Dude, you lost me. You lost me
right there.
Ammar starts to make a point, and then you just went and completely just ran him over in the process.
Not at all. I was making a point that was completely tangential.
The best point ever. No, you're right.
Continuation of Ammar's point.
You're right, boss. It was the best point anyone's ever made on the show. And no, I'm not saying I agree with you. I actually think, you both make very good points.
You don't even know the points we made. You were too busy
both.
doing whatever you were doing.
I mean, I was literally, trying to see when this Tucker Carlson show is going to pop off.
No, he was texting with Josh.
Yeah, I'm like, do you think they're ever going to stop or realize that we're even here? No, I'm just kidding. Hey, look, no, I think that I think it's, we did a whole show too, where Chris, Matthew, and I talked about how do you properly get the right price on your domain so that you do get the proper value without leaving money on the table, right? And and there's so many different schools of thought.
Yeah,
it's such a
the answer to the question, guys, is that you can't. You cannot do it. It's not possible. There are so many times where I've seen domains sell for prices that I would.
You cannot what? Just to clarify, we cannot what?
You can't optimally always get the best price for a domain without not selling.
Without sacrificing sales.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course.
So if you're smart about investing in today's world, where you don't have just, an insane amount of great names that you acquired in the 90s, or, you made a shit ton of money from PPC or what have you. You need to
from what? From make shit ton of money from what?
PPC,
PPC,
or like affiliate, or like some Frank Schilling kind of stuff.
And I would say that most people that watch this show are not in that situation, right? And I think that in that scenario, your best outcome is if you price your names, unless you've just acquired a bunch of names like Brent, for example. Then, I think do whatever you want. But in general, I think you need to price your names. And if you price that your names, it means you're going to leave money on the table some of the time. But it's just the way that it goes.
Yeah, no, and finding the right pricing. I mean, that's part of what has taken us. Like, it's this almost, I don't want to say tyranny of choice, but it's similar in that because it's relatively open-ended and you can spend days researching, well, maybe not days, but you can spend hours researching each name. So when you have thousands of names to price, and you try to put it into as much of a process as you can so that you can efficiently and systematically go through and come up with a price that you feel like, okay, this isn't going to keep this name from ever selling, but also it's not going to sell. And then we're going to feel like, oh man, we gave it away, So
yeah, I mean, a lot of people do it. They fit their names into buckets, right? And I think that if from a time optimization standpoint, I think that buckets is probably the right way to do things. If you've got all the time in the world to individually value, I don't know, 5,000 plus domains, I mean, that's great. But that takes a long ass
time, man. It takes a long time. Where are you guys at as far as like when you price your names? Are you doing like the 4,999 style? Or are you $5,000 even? Like how much time? Like how much thought do you give to sort of the retail pricing of names and some of those heuristics that to try to capture sales?
The latest thing that I've read was ending in a 9, but not ending in a 9, but having the last non-zero be a 9. So like I would do, if I'm doing $5,000, I'm going to do 4,900.
Okay.
Right. If I'm doing $100,000, I'm going to do 99,900.
Sure.
That's how I'm doing mine.
Okay.
I heard GoDaddy likes 911.
That seems so stupid to me.
Yeah.
I forget who published that. The shit pisses me off. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even mean to overdo it, but like when I see a price, it's like ends with 111, 222. Makes me aggressive. I don't know. Yeah. I can't tell you. It triggers me.
Why? Who said that they like that?
The name find portfolio.
Who it was?
Oh, yeah, so the name find portfolio is priced that way?
Yeah, they were like, we did research and we found that things were priced at 999 and we could simply move it up to 111, and therefore you added, $111 to the price, $112 to the price.
So they're saying that at 10,000, 111,
and it made no difference.
Is more likely to sell on 99.99.
Yeah, something like that.
About that, I don't know.
When I see those prices, man, that stuff, it triggers me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe that's a me problem.
I feel like that example is like
you're right because of the 10K. So let's say
81, a 4-figure or 5-figure, maybe not. Yeah. 89.99 versus 9111. They're going to say that 9111 is maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Doesn't make sense to me either. I don't know. I'm not convinced that anyone has a big enough, even name find. It's probably tough to argue, but anyone has enough of a sample size to be able to make definitive.
The drop catch.
Huge Domains has a much bigger portfolio than GoDaddy, and they do an insane amount of A/B testing.
Yeah, those guys are smart dudes.
I don't know what their answers are, but and they don't like to publicly discuss it. So, but I do know that they're doing an insane amount of A/B testing. They have been for ever, and I would imagine that they at one point, I believe, had 5.5 million domains. I think it's down to 3. I know they've been cutting the portfolio now that renewal prices are going up.
Theirs are all ending in 95.
5, yeah, 95.
95.
Yeah.
So I've always said, you want to know what the best landing page is? Look at Huge Domains, because they have the largest sample size. They are actually doing a lot of proactive A/B testing. They're moving things around on their forms. They're moving things around on landing pages, and they are optimizing for sales. Right. So, I, generally speaking, defer usually to whatever it is that Huge Names are doing. Whatever the Redwood brothers are doing, I kind of just think to myself, well, they've probably tested this, and so I'm going to go with what they're doing.
Yeah, big shout out.
Currently, every one of theirs ends in 95. So
95.
They have 15,
so
95,
JT,
31,
move
95.
it all to 95. What is it? Is it like 995?
No. They're all over the place. So it's like 25.95, 18.95, 20.95. So they're just in increments of 100, but ending in 95.
Yeah. All right, JT, it's where it's at. 95, baby.
What's a good example of a? Or what's
Jeff,
an example?
Andrew, shame on you for giving me all this work now to do.
Ammar.
Yeah. Go to
Jeff and Andrew, open invitation. We would love to bring you on to talk about basically anything you guys want to talk about.
Yeah. You know what? I'll ping him. I'll see what's up. I'll see what's good.
an exact. So
I've asked them in the past; they didn't want to do it, but they should.
I
Maybe
put in the
if you're
search
not on the episode.
for pickle. So if you smallpickle.com is $26.95. That's a good one for Drew.
Oh, man, that's messed up, Drew. Even that, I would even say that's messed up. And you know what I'm saying? I'm so used to getting
Speaking of
beaten up
movies,
here.
did you guys watch the American Pickle? This shit was pretty funny.
I don't know what that is.
It's called like the American Pickle or an American Pickle or something. It's pretty funny.
If I Google it, is that going to get me in trouble with HR?
Yeah.
They really the huge domain landing pages. The reviews are extremely.
Yeah, it's called An American Pickle. It's a Seth Rogen movie. It's hilarious. Yeah. It's really hilarious. He's like a, he's like
an Orthodox Jew,
one of the first Jews that immigrated to Brooklyn, and then like he falls into a pickling brine vat, and they seal it, and he gets brined, and then and then he suddenly wakes up, whatever it is, 100 years later, and he's like, what the hell is going on? And he gets reunited with like his great grandkid or something, who is also played by Seth Rogen. The whole thing sounds so stupid, but it's pretty funny. It's good.
Okay. We'll watch that. So the other thing I've noticed, they used to only do 12 months, from what I recall. Now they're doing 24 months, even on a tiny name like Small Pickle, pun intended. That name is $2,700, $26.95, and they're doing a 24-month payment plan.
No interest, right?
No interest.
No interest. $100 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. The key is that people have to be careful. So I think that's an amazing strategy. The vast majority of their names, they own at registration cost. They got them on drops. Some of these they're buying in auctions, but like the vast majority of those names they've got on drops. Yeah. And so they have $20 after 2 years into this name, right? And so their ability to do these payment plans, they have no downside. After the first payment or second payment, the name's paid in full.
Yeah.
And so, for all the reasons I talked about in the last show, and I think Barry Hill talked about on Andrew Alleman's show, people need to be careful with the payment plans. But if you got no downside.
Oh, I was listening to you. I was listening to you on the last Sherpa talking about that, and like a true lease versus whatever it is that these guys are trying to pretend this lease actually is, right? So, why isn't it like a dollar buyout lease or something like that? Because that's how you would structure it in the physical, tangible equipment world or whatever. You would either do a fair market value lease or a dollar buyout lease in most cases, and the dollar buyout is kind of how you work around making it, keeping it as a lease as opposed to changing it to a finance agreement. And if it is structured the way that they currently are structured, and I think that you alluded to this as it says they're a lease, but what it really is just a financing agreement, then you do have to account for the entire cost up front, right? When from a seller's standpoint, you do need to say,
as far as that's the advice I've been given, what I understand. And I do not play a financial advisor, accountant, or lawyer on television.
And none of this is financial advice. NFA.
But what I have been told and what I currently believe, and the assumption that I operate under, is that if you finance a deal, it doesn't matter what you call it. If it's a structured payment agreement, and that structured payment agreement has a path to ownership, a defined path to ownership. a guaranteed path to ownership, let's call it.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed path to ownership.
Then it's going to be treated as financing, and you have to treat the receipt of, I mean, again, these other variables. How is this inventory? Is this capital asset? Well, what is it on your books? But if it's inventory, you sell it on a structured payment plan that has a guaranteed path to ownership. My understanding, and I would love for somebody to correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that you have to recognize that sale in its entirety the moment you receive the first payment.
Even if you're an accrual-based taxpayer? I'm sorry, cash-based.
This is the second time.
Yeah, so we are cash-based. We are cash-based. And right?
I'm cash-based.
Are we cash-based or accrual-based, JT?
We're accrual-based.
Okay, we're accrual-based. I don't know. Maybe it's different for
cash. But hey, look. Let's not, because we don't have a lot of time. We're probably about 45 minutes, and we've only gotten through one name and the domain game. I do think there's some clarity that we need to find before we keep talking about this, because this is the second time it's come up. I did say I was going to go check it out and talk to our accountant and come back. The other thing too, though, there's two concerns. One is how you book it from an accounting standpoint, right? And the other thing is also if it's a finance plan and with this guaranteed path to ownership, well, then you've got concerns around, if the lessor, the payor, the buyer goes into bankruptcy, right? They have certain rights now to what they've paid in towards the domain, right? So now your domain potentially gets hung up in some situation around that. So it's like the idea
get in line,
and then it's just stuck.
But with escrow.com, I think, don't they put it in their agreement that you forfeit any payments?
Potentially, but at the same time, then it's a question of, how binding is that compared to, the bankruptcy rules? So, but, and the language is critically important. The way that you frame these things, which is why we're very careful about the deals that we do and how we do them. But again, we can double back on this. I'd love to get somebody like a Barry Hill or somebody on a show with us to talk through these things, because I do think there are some pitfalls and things that you need to be concerned about. And obviously this has become more and more popular. It's now, being implemented on all the platforms. So, it's definitely worth knowing what your risks are so people are educated. We're not in a position to give everybody all the answers, nor do we have the time to dedicate to it right now. But considering the fact that this has come up twice in the last two shows, we really do need to, we will dedicate some time and get some actual experts on here to cover it. And I got to get up to speed on a few of these nuances as well. So, but I can tell you, in doing what we do, we're very careful around how we structure these kind of deals specifically for those reasons. So, so just be careful out there in these digital streets, y'all. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, Josh, you got to buy or sell. It's like, oh, right, the domain game that we started 4 hours ago. It's like we played Risk. It's a game of Risk.
Honestly, I've had some like shitty months since June, to be honest, and I don't have I know that you guys were talking about the market being pretty good.
Everybody else has gotten rich. Everyone else is rich.
So I would say the market's been really strong, but only at really the high end. It's all of the big sales. All the sales that we've been making are like big bangers. It's like
we're not doing a lot of. It's not volume. It's definitely.
And I think that this dovetails with what we've been saying for over a year now, right? Maybe 18, 24 months is, VCs and private equity have a ton of cash, but they've tightened the purse strings. And so what's going to happen? Bigger checks going to fewer companies. They're only going to bet on more certain winners, but those more certain winners are going to get more fuel. So bigger checks to fewer companies. And I think that's basically what's playing out. We're seeing big checks, but to fewer companies. And so we're seeing maybe lower volume of domain sales, which is what was be reflected in GoDaddy's sales data. But very large outlier sales. So
before I forget, big shout out Patrick Bet David. You know what I'm saying? You talk about big sales. This was one that got picked up by a lot of folks that talked about it, including Drew tweeting about it. VT.com. You got two-character.com selling for real money. And as they
I'm the only one that got the respect back.
Oh, respect. He was like, respect.
He hit me with the respect.
He's like, respect. You got that blue check mark.
Well, I had it until I changed my profile picture from the on-chain monkey back to a human, and then they took away my blue check mark for review.
Yeah, because they're like,
That
we
was
don't believe you're a
yesterday.
real person. We believed you when we thought that you were a
Yeah.
cartoon digital
You said you were a monkey.
Yeah, exactly right.
You said you were a
Mm.
monkey.
So actually, they're more like, oh, well, that was when you were on chain.
We are in local.
When you were on chain, they gave you the
That is
check
so
mark.
weird. All right, let's go.
All right, Josh, buy or sell, dog.
We'll do a buy. I've actually bought a couple of really nice names, but the one I want to talk about hasn't hit the account yet. So
All right, no, let's not jinx it. Let's keep it. You know, we'll talk about it on the next show. Actually, before you do that though, VT.com, 2.5 million, right? That's what was reported.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean I'm inferring that because he says, he says something to the extent, I'm paraphrasing, he says like, what's the hardest name in the world, domain in the world to get right now? And some guy says 3 letters. He says, no, even harder. And he says, we're talking about, this is a $2.5 million domain. And then somebody else says 2 letters, and he goes, bingo. What's the initials of valuetainment? And they go, VT. He goes, bingo. VT.com is ours. So
yeah,
basically,
Vermont, the
that's
entire
where
state of
2.5 million
Vermont is
came from.
pissed off right now. They're like, let it go.
Listen,
you think
entire state
2.5
of
mil for
Vermont's too high to be
VT.com? How do we
pissed
feel?
off, dog.
What's that?
Entire state of Vermont's too high to be pissed off.
If hey, at least they're not stuck at Burning Man.
Yeah, you got 2 things. You got hippies smoking weed, and you got bumpkins taking fentanyl. Basically,
So
that's my experience in Vermont.
okay, VT.com, 2.5 mil, solid for the solid sale.
And Bernie Sanders, we'll put a third one up there.
Feels like a good buy to me.
Bernie Sanders?
No,
VT.
VT.com for 2.5 mil.
Yeah, I mean, great buy, right? It's a generic 2-letter. I think it's probably got, I don't know. What is VT Virginia Tech? Do they have VT.edu?
Yeah, I'm sure. Well,
This thing's probably got. This thing's got a ton of traffic. I mean, VT.com is a great domain. Every 2-letter.com is a great domain. Even VQ is a great domain just because it's 2 letters. It's not hard to program into somebody's mind.
And it is VT.edu for Virginia Tech. And it's also VT is the.
It's getting a ton of traffic, guaranteed.
VT is also the ticker for the Vanguard Total World Stock Index Fund, their ETF.
Yeah, who cares? Very few ETFs buy their ticker. I mean, especially if it's a Vanguard one, it's like. But still, huge name, great buy. But it sounds like he had his finger on the pulse. He said he was trying to buy that for 5 years, and so he was, finger on the pulse, waiting. And as we've said a million times, the key to success in this business is patience. Patience in sales, patience in purchases.
Yeah. All right. No doubt. Well, that's good feedback. All right. Let's keep it moving. Now we're going to move for real. Joshy Pickles, man. Talk to me, dog. What you got?
Joshy Pickles. I like that.
I guess.
Like, I don't. He's like, hate this show. I hate being on here. I don't know why I did this. We love you, Josh.
Delivered this week. Okay.
Dude, looks like he got held in the brine a little too long.
I bought this one a little while ago. What about deepcloud.com?
Deepcloud.com. I like it. Deep Cloud. And you bought this domain?
Yeah.
Is this a buy price?
Yep, it's a buy. It is a buy price. Deepcloud.com. All right.
I was gonna do wagme.org. That one might have been better. Stay on the dot.
I like that. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, flip it. Oh, okay. I'm the high man on the total poll. So Drew's at 788.
When you say wagme.org, is that W like
Wait,
we all gonna
he
make
said
it?
Wagyu. I thought you said Wagyu.
Yeah. We all gonna make
Wagme.org.
Wagyu beef. 788 for Drew. Ammar, what were you? 1800, and I was 24.99. That is the stretch. What did Josh pay?
You won. I chose that name specifically because I paid a high for it.
Oh, okay.
So
all right. What'd you pay?
It was $6,750.
What? $6,750.
Wait, hold up. Wait,
Hey,
you
Josh,
paid almost $7,000 for deepcloud.com?
You know, I'm going to send you our domain list, by the way.
Yeah, dog.
Was it an auction?
Listen, man, when you're giving out free money, just holler.
Holler at your boy. You still want to buy mage.io? No.
Yeah.
So tell us the thinking. I mean, there's been actually a bunch of deep whatever names on auction lately.
Yeah.
So talk to us about the
I
process
sold
and how it
deep. I think I sold deep. Let's see. I had deep.co and deep.me. I sold one of them for like $125,000, I think.
Yeah, you sold that.
Deep.co. I sold that for like 125 or 150 or something. That got good money.
Yeah.
So Josh, what was your thought process? How'd that go?
Like, so it's like deep is pretty hot right now with the whole like AI thing.
Sure.
So deep. I put her ass to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. There are
Shout out Jimmy Buffett too.
Yo, rest in peace to Jimmy Buffett, man. We RIP'd Bob Barker on the last show. Now we're RIP Jimmy Buffett, man.
Yeah. They're just knocking them out, man. Just like bowling pins, like bop, 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 all the great ones.
He's at the Margaritaville in the sky now.
Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett.
You guys are good. Where were we?
Deep cloud. Deep thoughts.
Why did I pay a lot of money for it? Because it has some interesting use in commerce right now, that term. IBM uses it. There are a couple companies called Deep Cloud. Most of them are in the AI niche, which is currently getting a bunch of money. Yeah, so like on the surface, I would never pay that much money for it, but I think that there is a decent chance that I could sell it for
50, 80.
No more. I'd probably try to sell it for low six figures.
Okay.
It's one of those names where, in my opinion, I mean, it's taken in a lot of different TLDs.
Wow, there is a ton of end user pickup on Deep Cloud. To me, that sounds like a absolutely terrible brand. Like my first instinct, which is why I put $588, is that this is garbage. But this is super adopted.
Yeah, and you actually put 788 or something, but it's fine. It's been a while since you put that up there on the screen, so I get it.
Yo, hey, man, you know what though? Here's the deal, and this is another point where I think Rick Schwartz actually has a great point. Actually, I think Braden made this point as well. The big, deep.cloud is available and it's $4,222. You should try to grab that name. Like if you were trying to sell deepcloud.com for 25, even 50, and it's, you're looking for a 5 or 10x, I'd say forget about it. You know what I mean? Because the benefit of deepcloud.com over deep.cloud is easily 5 or 10x. But if you want $250,000 for deepcloud.com and deep.cloud is $4,222, then you better protect your downside.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I'll give an alternate view to that, and I kind of there's elements of I like and there are elements that I don't like. One of which is I don't want to be into deepcloud.com for 12,000. I'm already in for 7. That's A, and B is worst case scenario is none of them sell. But other than that, is the other case scenario is deep.cloud sells for 4,222 to one of those end users that we all looked at that are pretty decent size. There's good usage from it. That's okay. Like I kind of want them to build something out on deep.cloud. Like then instead of asking for 100, I'll ask for 250. You know what I mean? So I mean, maybe it makes the hold longer, but also I don't want deep.cloud
Yeah,
for
they definitely extend the
$4,000.
timeline. I agree with you, and that's
And then it's probably a $3,000 renewal on that bitch as well.
how much?
I don't know, a lot. Like you know how these random
It's
TLs
premium.
have some weird stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, but again, it's kind of like the pricing discussion. Very valid points on both sides. I used to hold your position exactly the same. Let others take the nets, the orgs, the IOs, the AIs, go develop that, make a business. And then when you are ready to take off your training wheels and put your big boy pants on, I'll be here waiting for you. But Braden convinced me otherwise. You're convinced me back to the other school. I don't know. I find myself dazed and confused.
I think it depends. I think it depends on what price you can get it at, right? So if like deep.cloud is sitting there at like $500,
I'd reach out and be like, look, I'll give you $1,000 for this thing. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, confirm the renewal costs and then see if it's worth it. But I agree. I think it's probably worth a shot. And that is a Braden thing. Go ahead, Ammar.
No, but Drew, so let's say you get deep.cloud. So what's your play?
You suddenly are the only play in town, right? It's deepcloud.com and deep.cloud. And then one of those 20, 30 end users eventually puts the big boy pants on and they come and they say, well, we want deepcloud.com. We'll give you 20 grand. And you're like, no, I want 250. And they're like, well, there's alternatives. And you're like, no, they're not. And they're like, well, what about deep.cloud? Got that too. Give me 250 and I'll throw you both. Right?
Okay, so that's you're basically saying that you're trying to eliminate any alternative.
Yeah, isn't that like the point of commerce?
You're trying to eliminate at least the next best alternative, depending on how
the objective of capitalism is eliminate.
But you'll quickly go
options
if you do that for all of your names, right? So you can only do. I do that for my I try to do that for my top tier names.
Yeah,
but you can't do that for all your names, right?
No. And again, so if we were talking about state of mind, I wouldn't even have thought about it, right? But the fact that, he really went deep on deep cloud.
I don't know. I don't like
basically. if you're gonna go deep on that name, you know what I mean? Like commit. You know what I'm saying? That's I guess my point is basically if you're over allocating to the name, I think, and then I agree. This actually has a remarkable upside, but it's still more than I probably would have paid. But still, I don't think you're going to get hurt. And all I'm saying is, if you're going to commit at that level, then you probably are even better off buying the insurance policy and being, all in. Because just because you and I and all of us can sit here and say we know that deepcloud.com is better, when it's a 5-to-1 ratio, easy decision. When it's a 10-to-1 ratio, it's probably going to swing to the .com. When it gets above that, and people have boardroom conversations or advisor conversations, and somebody says, "Listen, Deep.cloud is going to get you 80% there. Why you got to spend all that money?" Right? So I just like the downside protection, the insurance policy.
Yeah, no. And again, you mentioned, Braden has talked about
we had greenhouse.com. And this actually, it just occurred to me. This played out.
Yeah.
We had greenhouse.com. And then we went to Identity Digital, at that point Donuts, and said, look, I want, green.house. Made a deal. We got green.house. And on every inquiry that would come in, I say, look, greenhouse.com, it's going to be a stupid price. You don't want to pay that price, but I got green.house for you. And they go, yeah, well, what's the price? And you say, well, you have green.house for 100. And they go, I want greenhouse.com. How much? And I say, well, it's going to cost you $2 million. And they say, well, we got to get green.house down, or we got, what are we going to do here? Right. And then it was like, I'm just going to stay firm. This is this price for the low end one. This is the price for the high end one. You got to determine, are you a low end company or a high end company? And that narrative is very powerful.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as I said, shout out to
The
Braden.
result was we sold greenhouse.com for a material price. I can't say a price because I don't remember if I signed an NDA or not. But we sold it for a material price, and they decided they weren't a low end company. And we still have Green Dot House for sale,
which is available if anybody's interested. So, hey, all right, let's keep it moving. All right, so good stuff. Deep Cloud. I'm now in. I should have, even though I got the point,
You're in.
I was going to go
Deep
higher.
Cloud?
We did. We went deep. All right, let's go. Ammar, we got to go fast because then we got literally like 10 minutes to spend on the NameJet list. We got to keep this moving.
So we're going to do, I almost never do a buy. I'm going to do a buy. Hopefully you guys weren't in this auction. Plantbar.com. Were any of you in that auction?
No. I'm not in many auctions these days.
Okay. Plantbar.com.
Plant Bar. I like that name though.
Thank you.
Okay. So you bought it, right? You bought this.
Yeah.
You bought Plant Bar. All right.
It sounds like a psychologist. So you bought Plant Bar.
How did it make you feel? How did it make you feel when you bought Plant Bar, Ammar? All right, here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Flip it. Oh, wow. Josh is 1788. Drew is 1795. And I'm $3,999.
It's so funny. This is literally the first time in like Domain Sherpa history
didn't
where I
do double
switched from
eights.
888
Yes.
numbers
That's
to
crazy.
95 because we were just talking about huge domains. And Josh took my number. It was literally going to be 1788, and I said, "I'm going to put."
I don't know if we've
95.
ever had a tie where people have guessed the same. I think we have like one. That's very rare, obviously. All right, Ammar.
JT, you got it. 35.
Winner. That makes me the winner. What's up?
35.
Man, this is why I don't want to participate in auctions anymore. Y'all fools. Y'all just throw them.
Right. No. I was going to say after I won it, I'm like, that's a lot for that name. But I mean, for me, I actually have another reason. Like, I actually could be a user for the name. So for those kind of names,
it's another one of those businesses you're gonna have, right? Like kind of like the blog article you're gonna write.
Dickhead.
Hey, man.
I am an investor.
I'm a protein bar, right, Ammar?
Yeah, no. But I'm an investor in a nutrition company, and we have protein bars, and our bars are plant based. So
That's awesome. Cool. This is like perfect for you. That's actually a great buy then.
But I'm
what'd
not
you pay
sure
for it?
that
Wait,
I'm
what'd you
gonna
pay
use
for it?
that? $35.50.
Oh, okay, cool. So I was like, right. I was almost right on. Right.
You were close. So,
super close. Like, give me credit.
But I still, I would push back on you, Drew. I think it's a decent price, even just
it's a great name. It's a great name.
That is a very good name because it could also be a weed bar. You know what I'm saying?
It's got 3 outs. It's got 3 outs. It's got the like plant-based protein bar out. It's got a restaurant, like a plant-based restaurant type fat food or whatever.
Yeah, you got Plant City. Matthew Kinney's got that Plant City.
Right. And then the third one is, this is happening because I've been to one in LA where they're actually creating like nurseries or a plant, like literally a plant bar where you go and you go have like wine while you're looking at like shopping for plants and things like that.
You pick a mushroom from the bar, you eat that.
Yeah, well, I was going to say there's two others. There's a cannabis
and eat that.
And
there's
cannabis.
the cannabis play. And I actually think Plant Bar could even be
it's a great
it could also just be a nursery. Like you don't even need to have drinks while you buy your your plants, which is weird. But I mean, y'all on some hippie shit.
I guess my point with it though is just, and I'm leaning more towards your argument, Ammar, but still just playing devil's advocate as a way to think about it. Two of those examples are, let's say, scalable to the point where somebody could pay real money for the name, right?
Yeah.
And all the other examples, you're gonna have a hard time squeezing a 5 or certainly not a 6-figure amount out of. But if it was a franchise, maybe, and if it was, if it went with like the nutrition space and it became the name of a plant-based protein bar and it's actually at scale and being sold nationwide or worldwide, then that certainly justifies it. But anyways, it is a great name. I really like the name.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I think it was a great name and it was a great game. And congratulations and shout out to me for winning, which is pretty awesome. So we're gonna just say congratulations, great job, JT.
Right.
No, but I got to move this thing along, man. We got about 15.
But guys, one quick thing though. I want you to know, I did I had owned. I didn't even realize unless I had just bought it. You know what I did? I bought it while it was an auction because I saw it was available. I bought plantbar.org. And I hand regged that because it was available. And I think I hand regged it actually. But regardless, I bought it before I owned the .com just as backup, right? Because I found that I liked the name, and then I'm like,
hey, Josh, I'm curious. Generally speaking, what would you say is if you're looking at signals and you see that the .org and the .net are not registered, is that a strong signal or a weak signal?
That's a weak signal, right?
Oh yeah, that's what he's doing. He's dissing you, man.
Yeah.
He's making fun of you, man.
So now does that make
case? I know I'm busting your balls.
No, does it make
just trying to get us off to the next thing? You guys had to keep talking. You could have avoided all this.
You paid a high price, but
avoided it
again. Like Josh, you're not going to get hurt at that price. It's a great name.
You have a business that you use for that exact. I think it's a perfect name for your business. I think it's a great buy. I'm super excited for you, and super excited to move on from the domain game that I just won.
MediaOptions is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, MediaOptions offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. MediaOptions believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
So now, y'all, we're sliding into NameJetGonnaJet, sponsored by our friends at NameJet. We got a big old list today. Let me run through a couple quick details. So if you go to DomainSherpa.com, you go to the page for this particular episode, you can download the spreadsheet. It has the domain names. It has the Esteban appraisals. Take those with a grain of salt. Take them with a whole pile of salt, you know what I'm saying? And how many back orders as of the time that we tape the show? When you've got to have your back orders in, these are all expiring domains, which means that in order to participate in what will be a private auction, you have to have a back order in before the order by date or by the closeout time so that you can still participate in that auction. We get no affiliate revenue from this kind of thing. So we're just doing this to help y'all out. So hopefully that does help. So yeah, let's see. Let's get into the minds of these Sherpas and see what they like and what they don't like. Since we're talking a little bit about some auction names, let's start with Josh. Josh, looking at the list, what do you think, man? What do you like? What don't you like?
I like clean with a K because that shit sells.
That shit clean.
That shit clean, son.
I mean, it is a great name as well, to be fair. Like I'm not big on the misspells or the missing letters, but the C to the K, just like those things just sell like hotcakes, even if it's not a super premium word like clean. So I want that name.
What about crack with a K? How's that one?
I'll take that too. but that one's super
Ask
good.
Obama.
I think that name is gonna go for price.
Dude, come on, man. Don't
Listen.
Don't do that.
I'm gonna say that clean.com sells for hold on. Over 20K.
On
20K in
NameJet?
auction?
Nah.
No, I say 10-ish.
Oh, okay. Josh is putting the gauntlet down. All right, let's go. I love this.
I'm in that 10 camp. I was going to say 8 to 10.
Well,
it's a typo at the end of the day.
I'm with
Well, hold up. That's assuming there's no funky SEO crazy stuff going on. But
okay. Gotta start qualifying. Start hedging quickly. Quickly hedge. We said it. We said 20K plus. That's what's going to happen.
20K.
20K. I like that. I like that.
Nah, there ain't no SEO juice. I'm with Ammar. I think 10, maybe 12, 8 to 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the right.
Pretty soon you're gonna be like 8 to
But
16.
amazing name. I definitely would buy it, even though I don't buy domains anymore.
Yeah.
Shit's selling for above 20. We need I need something on this. You think 8 to 10, I say 20. We need to do something here.
All right.
I say 8 to 12, but I think what Drew is 12.
I know more than you guys. Sorry.
Ooh, okay. Okay. So what are we putting on this? Like what can we bet? What would be
Put a little spice on it.
Let's go. What do you guys want to do? Come on.
Wait. When you say you know
Put a
more, do
little-
you have some kind of information, or you're
Put a
saying?
little habanero in my taquito.
I just know that people are going to pay a lot for this name. They'll pay 20K.
Okay.
Maybe
We're
more.
putting something on it. What do we got, man? Can we do something? Can we,
Oh, he knows if
$20?
there's
You
some
got
buyer that
$20 bet?
wants it. One of his buddies is going to buy it. He's willing to go to a certain price.
No, man.
But it takes two to tango, dog.
When is this name going to auction? September 14th. My birthday. It's going to auction on my birthday. Okay.
Oh, that's your birthday. All right, nice, man. We always
I don't know.
listen
We
to
just do
birthdays.
That's your problem. You were born a few days too early to be a Libra. That's your problem.
You just do like a little bet. Like
$20. Let's see. Somebody put the money up, y'all.
Solo la puntita.
Just the tip, baby. Pick a threshold that you guys are comfortable. You want to say 15?
Yeah, whatever. I don't.
just like a little Benji. We'll just do like a little Benji.
Yeah, a little Benji. If it's not a Benji, then why bother?
All right.
Yeah.
What's the number? Is the 20 the number above or below?
Closest to the pin. I say 20.
Okay.
These guys say 10.
Okay.
Well,
You said 8.
Ooh.
No. You can't do that because
Closest to the pin without going over.
No, he says it's over 20. He thinks it's going over 20.
Oh.
Yeah, but if it finishes at 19 or 18, I'm still closest to the pin.
Closest to the pin. That's fine. You guys want 12? You said 8 to 12. You want 12 as your number?
Ammar?
I'll do 12.
All right.
You guys
All
want to go?
12 versus 20.
Wait, so is this an
Clean.com.
Ammar and me versus Josh thing, or is it Ammar versus Josh and me versus Josh separately?
Oh,
Depends.
we
You
should
guys
do
want
it.
to put 100 up or 50 up each?
So do you want to be out a hundy to both of us, or do you
Yeah.
want us to split the hundy?
No, I want the upside. I just want the
All
upside.
right, boom, 100 each. Yes,
All
let's
right.
go. This is big money here on DomainSherpa. Who said that we don't talk big dollars on this show? All right, cool. Clean.com. We got a bet. It's locked in. Official. Billy, give me like the closing of the jail cell, the sound. Boom, lock it in. Let's see what happens. We'll follow up in a subsequent show. All right, cool. What else?
I got to figure out a way to Michael Birkins this auction now.
Oh, you're gonna say,
Well,
oh, that's that's messed up. You're gonna write a blog about how this name is like questionable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to Michael Birkins. Shout out to Michael.
yeah, you want one more name?
Michael, I love you, but you deserve
W,
that
why would you?
anyways.
What W? Why would you say that?
No, I literally, there are a few people that I actually love more than Michael Birkins. I really, truly love that dude. However, he sincerely and 100% disrespectfully screwed me royally
I know.
with the WI.com.
WI. Would you say that? It was, you know what I'm saying? Or why would you say that?
Anyways, moving on. It was just a little,
Let's go on.
it was a little, what do you call that in the jail cell?
Little jab,
Yeah.
little shank.
Little
Wait,
shank.
I'll do one more
Little
name. I'll
kidney
do one
shank.
more name, and I'll leave the rest for you guys. Okay? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Seniorhealth.com. How can you not love seniorhealth.com? I mean,
Love senior health.
I feel like that. I mean, obviously, it's already got 160 back orders or whatever, right? No, that's plague. 78 back orders. I don't know. I feel like that Senior Health might be the strongest like upside name there. But
Yeah, what are you trying to pay for that in an auction?
There's a whole bunch of seniors with a whole bunch of health problems, and it's about to
I
get
don't
bigger
know.
and bigger and worse and worse.
I don't know. Like at auction, I guess like I don't know, maybe like 10K. But I feel like it's gonna go. I feel like it'll go higher than that. Again,
Another hundy?
Another Benji?
Why, y'all don't think it's going to go over 10K?
No.
Senior Health is not going over 10K.
No.
I'll put a
So you
Benji
take
on
the
it.
over, we'll take the under on that one.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Are
how
we
we
doing
do
it?
it.
Let's
That's
go.
it. So here's the deal. This is what we're
Yeah,
going to
I mean-
simplify both of these.
So like that one for me, I think
On clean.com, it's over under 20. Okay, we're under, you're over. On Senior Health, the over under is 10.
no, it's closest to the pin. Clean
Oh,
is
we already
closest.
agreed.
Nah,
You already agreed.
over
You
under
already
is better.
agreed. You can't go back and change it now. You can
Oh,
always add
Sports
to
betting.
it.
This is how it works.
We're not gonna we're not gonna bet
how
on
it
Senior
works.
Health. We already have the
How the
bet.
rules work.
The bet's already official. All right, let's
All
go.
right.
Okay, so
Mark.
on Senior Health, we can make it, now we can do an over under. So I say under 10, you're saying over 10?
I would no, I don't. If it
Okay, what number would you do over under? What's your over under number?
I think it'll go over 6.
I think it'll
Look,
That's a big drop. That's a big drop, man.
Look
That's
at that.
that is the
Oh,
equivalent of that
the
Homer Simpson
threshold for
meme
that
where he
fucking
backs
name is
into the-
easily like,
Yeah, it backs into the butt.
oh no. You're giving me 6 to 10. 6 to 10. How is that unreasonable? There's a
It's all
4K
good. Hey,
gap.
come on, it's all good. We got
Yeah,
10
that's
minutes left. We
40%
got
then.
10 minutes left on the show.
That's
I'll
40
take 6 to 10. You take 2 to 6.
That's 40%.
I
That's
can
a big. That's a big old. You just.
I think the
that's a
number is
hedge.
probably
That's a hedge.
6 to 8 is probably the right number for that.
Hey,
Yeah, I
NameJet,
thought-
we
hey-
love you, but like I'm trying to backorder domains and I have to click thing. Like you read that book about how Amazon increased sales by 300% by making everything one click. Y'all did it backwards. I have to now click like 14 times just to backorder a domain. And then when I think it's backordered, it's actually still not backordered. And I got to click one more time.
And also, since we're going to do a little gripe here, I've won 2 or 3 names in the last month that I didn't even know, which is total bullshit. Because the way NameJet used to work, you'd get a list, or you could sort by.
Yeah, you can.
Orders.
I mean, you can hack it. I figured out how to hack it.
Oh,
but
you got to
like,
tell me because I've already won
it's-
2 or 3 names that I don't
it's
want.
a disaster. It's a disaster. I just
We should-
won this morning.
Yeah.
Hey, can I bring something up real quick just in regards to help?
We love you, NameJet.
That is one of those names that you were talking about earlier, Drew. I feel like seniorhealth.com is one of those names that you could ask like way too much money for. And you could get
I agree. I think seniorhealth.com, I think you're going to probably hold the name for a decade, but it's worth asking $250.
yeah.
It's a huge, I don't even know what the search numbers look like on that name, but it's like, it's a big enough blanket that you're like, this can be a really great name.
Ammar.
Okay. So obviously I like the 2 that already mentioned, Clean and Senior Health. I also like Tab with the 2 B's, and I like Good Fitness. I think Good Fitness is the sleeper there, but I'm probably biased because I love those kind of names. But I definitely like Good Fitness as a sleeper. I like Tab and the 2 that the other guys mentioned. The one I would warn people to be careful about is B4. I do like that name a lot, but I think there's a bunch of trademarks around it. So
That's interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't.
something to keep in mind there. But I do like that name a lot. And
the
I
more
think
trademarks there are, the less any individual trademark holder has the ability to.
Yeah. For me, that would be an easy one because 4 is my number, so I could easily,
By the way, there's only 1-800-B4U tow.
No, I think there's well, maybe not trademarks then, but there's a pretty big cybersecurity company named, I thought they're named B4. I could be wrong.
Oh yeah.
In the end though, it's a tough brand. I want to like it, but it's like if you say my brand is B4, people are going to say the letter B4, right? They're not going to, or they're going to say the letter B and then 4 spelled out. But
Right.
B,
Well, I think this is an interesting list because
hard.
there's
That's hard. It's very difficult brand to convey. Like, if I'm asking
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But
and I think this list has some interesting typo style names where you have this B4, you have Tab with 2 B's, you have Clean with a K.
Kuai without the other U.
Yeah, which is another one, and I think that one even, I was going to say that's probably one of my biggest dislikes on the list because
why is that one value so high?
Well, because
probably
the
a lot
A
of
and the
people
U, the A and the
mistype it.
U are transposed.
No, but no, it's missing a U. The proper spelling, I believe, is K-U.
No,
No,
it's
Yeah.
K-U-A-I. It's K-A-U-A-I. You're right.
K-A-U-A-I. Exactly. I knew it was missing a letter. Yeah.
Correct.
K-A-U-A-I. It's missing an A before the I.
Yeah, so it's the
But
Hawaiian
you
Island.
know, I don't know how much Kuai.com, how much traffic that gets, but you know, if it's getting a lot of traffic, maybe the typos got some, but otherwise, pretty worthless name.
Yeah.
My turn.
Sure.
Okay. Good fitness. I agree. I've done very, very well. Like good would be one of the top prefixes of like all of the prefixes of names that I commonly purchase. I would say
Really?
good I've just had tremendous results, like with good and with the word better. So good and better as prefixes, really successful. Like better health, better this,
Yeah.
good weed. I sold good weed for 40 grand. The guy owed like 2 grand. It was on a payment plan. He paid like 38 grand and then defaulted.
Oh,
It was like,
That name's available
Yeah.
for anybody who wants to make it pop. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
who wants to take another run up at bat?
Holler.
And then, anyways, but there was actually other ones. Like I think we had good flowers and good. I've had a bunch. I've had probably 4 or 5 like really good 5-figure sales on names that I bought for very little money that started with the word good. So I like good fitness a lot. I concur with Josh or Ammar. I forget who said it.
Ammar.
And then,
I forget
I'm
who
also,
said it 30
clean.
seconds ago.
I really like clean. I also like I like monarchy.org. I just think monarchy is kind of a cool brand. I also like Playgroup. I think Playgroup is
But that's
really
that's like
good.
a company. I think that's a company.
Yeah, it's like a big conglomerate holding.
Yeah.
It's like a big gambling holding or something. Right? Teddy, whatever his name is, that owns Play something. The big gambling company. Anyways, WEO. I love that name. WEO. I don't know why. It just looks good when you look at it. It has an aesthetic appeal to it. I like WEO. I have also found, and I have absolutely no evidence or nothing to corroborate this, but I have found over time, just anecdotally, that names that have a visual aesthetic appeal tend to sell faster than, or let's say the sell-through rate is higher than, otherwise.
Mhm.
I don't know why. Just maybe it's when people are making that, they're thinking about them. It just adds another element of desire. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes I actually will envision a logo for a name in my mind when I'm looking
Yeah, and you
at
go,
it.
oh, that looks so good. I just need it.
Yeah. But I agree with the aesthetic of the name itself can make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Can add value to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool.
Mhm.
Anything you don't like? And then we can.
Yeah, I don't really like that B4 because I think it's very confusing. I think it's a very difficult. I want to love it. It's an amazing brand. I like hacks like that. But like I used to have 4UM and I loved that name.
Wow.
The number 4UM.com. And I was like, what an amazing name for forum. And I think we did end up selling that. I don't remember if it sold well or not. Maybe we still have it. I don't know. But yeah, I don't like that one. And I don't like the Kuai typo.
All right. Well,
Everything else is, fair game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. Again, a lot of good feedback there. And definitely some cool names.
Surprisingly, Playgroup has the most back orders of all these names.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, to me, Playgroup, like you said, a conglomerate for a gaming company, or but also because it's not plural, right? So you're not necessarily, it's not Playgroup, so you're not trying to, it's like big, homeschool kids and different younger kids. It's they socialize by way of playgroups. Singular is more of a brand though than the actual thing.
There's also a bunch of companies called Playgroup actually. Like a lot of them. This is
Yeah, but I
actually
think
kind of like Josh's name that he paid the $7,000 for. There's actually a ton of names, ton of people that have adopted Playgroup.
Do you remember the name that Josh was? I'm curious if you remember it.
Deep Cloud, baby.
There you go.
Don't forget it. Don't forget it.
Hey, come get it. It's all good, man. It's all good. That shit's hot. But that's also why you do the research, though, right? I mean, this is what we talked about before, and that's one of the challenges that we've had with pricing our names. One of the things that we should have been in the habit of doing is that when you buy a name, you price it. So that way, you can kind of do it in the moment. And then, as opposed to now having to slog through thousands of names and try to make sure that you get the right pricing. And, we talk a lot about valuation. You got the Rosner equation out there in the universe, Domain Academy. I mean, Michael Seiger is built on this too. All of the subjective, objective, the different factors that really lead to, and how many end users are out there. And, it takes research to understand that. It's not as simple as just saying, oh, the search numbers say this, or, Esteban says that. I mean, there's literally a process that involves actual work to get the idea of what a name should be priced at. But, go ahead.
Man, nobody does work anymore. People don't want to work.
Dude, we put in that work, son.
They want the magic sauce.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is the ultimate goal, is how to get paid the most for doing the least. But, it's tough trying to find the right formula there. Really the formula ends up being just do the work. And that ends up being the right answer. All right. Well, look, y'all, I appreciate this. I appreciate y'all being on here. Like I say, on these shows, these guys aren't really just guests. They're my co-hosts, you know what I mean? Bringing the info, the heat, and the comic relief. And so I hope you all enjoyed it, like I say. So thank you to my co-hosts for being here today, you guys, as always. And to the audience, like I say at every show, thank you guys for tuning in. Without you, there is no us. And so, yeah, you have any questions, comments, whatever, good, bad, ugly, hit us up. We're not hard to find. We will hit y'all, for those of you who are on the West Coast, about that upcoming meetup. Let's try to connect. We might even do a little bit of filming, maybe a little bit of, some candid stuff that we could, that might end up on a show or something. And, but we'll provide some insight and info on that. We'll hopefully get to see some folks in person sooner than later. And then otherwise, we'll just.
You gonna bring me some swag?
Yeah. I got all y'all covered, man. We got y'all. You know what I mean?
All right.
Bring Ammar swag. Get swag made. Bring it. All right. All right. And then, Josh, you got to let everybody know, man, the next time you're playing somewhere that there might be some domainers around, dude. Daytona, anywhere in Florida, you go to South Florida. I mean, shit, you might have Rick Schwartz and Mike Birkin sitting front row with Judy.
Dude, man,
battling out, man, cheering for every point.
That's exactly what I want.
Every point. Every point. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, Joshy Pickles, let's get it.
Joshy Pickles. Dude, that is so good a stick because it's so good.
Joshy Pickles, baby. Hey, my favorite pickleball player, man, bar none. You know what I mean? Although Ammar is like a close second, and he's and I appreciate his hustle there too. And Michael Seiger's probably my third, man. I'm thinking now everybody's getting down with pickleball. All right. Hey, look, we got to go. We are out of time. But thanks again to my team, and thank you to the audience. We'll see you guys next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Peace out, everybody.